Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Insider. Today we're going to do the review of the Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch here for 2021, and we'll go to the depth of the specs, display, hardware, software, keyboard, trackpad, ports, and more. So let's get on with the review. So this is the Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch. I like its keyboard. It's great, comfortable, improved keyboard comfort, excellent Retina displays, the 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, long battery life, good graphics and computing performance. What I don't like it is expensive as configured in this model. Then it doesn't support the Wi-Fi 6, and limited port variety means that the ports are less in this device. As all knows, it is the Apple laptops will have less ports. Example, the USB-A port is not there, HDMI port is not there, SD card port is slot is also not there, but only USB-C, which is using Thunderbolt 3 ports, is only there, 4 of them. People who need that, they can use it. And let's get on. Let's go ahead. For the specification, as it's here, it is ultra portable Intel Core i5 1038 NG7 2 GHz of the processor speed, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of internal storage, 13.3-inch screen size, and display resolution is 2560 by 1600 pixels, and no touchscreen as expected. And IPS panel technology, IPS has better battery life than the OLED and AMOLED, and but if you want the better display, then you have to take the OLED or the AMOLED display if there's an option. 16 hertz of screen refresh rate, Intel Iris Plus graphics, which is not best, but first it's Intel Iris 60 graphics, which is reserved for the other laptops, which is HP laptops, Lenovo laptops, 11 gens. But for this laptop, it is Iris Plus graphics, and which is reserved for the HP Spectre X6013T. And let's go ahead. Wireless networking, which is 802.11 AC, and Bluetooth also, Apple Mac OS Catalina operating system, and weight as ultra portable, it will be very less, very thin and light, 3.1 pounds, and tested battery life as hours and minutes, it is 12 hours and 46 minutes. So this is the MacBook Pro 13 inch here for 2021. It's a controversial keyboard once present on the every Apple laptop is now a thing of the past. The new for the 2021 13-inch Pro MacBook Pro was the last Mac notebook waiting to be updated with the MacBook Air. The Magic Keyboard ditches the extremely shallow keys of the previous design, adding the travel distance and the stability in the bed to please people who use their laptops to all day long. Also new on the $1,799 MacBook Pro review unit are updated with the 10th gen Intel processor, faster memory, and more storage options. The upgrades are nice if you can afford them at this price point, but most people will be satisfied with the base unit, which is $1,299 as configuration instead, which retains our editor's choice for the best Mac laptops. That basically there are two main models, one new keyboard also. And Apple sells two main configuration of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and physically there are nearly identical. Both of them have the new Magic Keyboard, a thin touch enabled mini screen forward of the keyboard called the touch bar. They are also share the same dimensions as told before, 0.61 by 12 by 8.4 inches, all are inches, and height by width by length. At 3.1 pounds, it's ultra portable, very thin, lightweight, and it's great. The main way you can say them apart from the outside is by the number of ports. The entry level is the $1299 configuration has just two USB Type C port on the left, while the upgraded $1799 version reviewed here offers an additional two USB Type C ports connectors on the right for a total of four. On the inside, the differences are more significant. The entry level configuration uses the same 8th gen Intel Core i5 or i7 processor that powered the previous 2019 version of the 13-inch MacBook Pro. Meanwhile, the review unit which I'm reviewing is featuring the improved 10th gen Ice Lake processor or the Intel Iris Plus graphics available in either Core i5 or Core i7 variants. In addition to a new CPU design, the 10th gen chips also bring other benefits like the faster graphics processing and memories, which are unavailable on the entry level of MacBook Pro at the base model. While the 1799 configuration does offer a modestly better performance and a most Apple shoppers who need a significant computing muscle should select the 16-inch MacBook Pro instead, who need the better display, big screen display, and with the more powerful Core i9 and a discrete graphics processing. So the main reason to upgrade to the 13-inch MacBook Pro if your laptop is several years old is for the improved typing comfort. Similar products like the Apple MacBook Air 2020, which is at the price at Amazon $799, and Apple MacBook Pro 16-inch $2184, which is very expensive, around 9,080s like that. I don't know, not sure. At Amazon's and so expensive as we come to the MacBook Pro lines. Indeed, I find the Magic Keyboard to be at least as comfortable as the pre-2016 Apple keyboards are significantly more comfortable than the 2019 Butterfly style keyboard it replaces. The Magic Keyboard switches up of the two parts, a compressible rubber jump sits beneath the keycaps to provide the key springiness and a bounce back, while a scissor mechanism guides the movement. Locking in the keycap at the top of the travel to help prevent the wobbly keys. Yes. The process isn't terribly innovative, but rather an interaction of the way laptop keyboard have been designed for decades. The butterfly design, by contrast, is very innovative, but not in a good way, since its key barely move when you strike them, providing an experience more akin to tapping on a touchscreen than typing on the keyboard. Perhaps the only benefit to the previous keyboard design is the ability to prevent light from spilling out around the key edges. You can definitely see the spoil over in the Magic keyboards. It's a slightly messier look when you are using it in the dark, but it's hardly a deal breaker annoyance. So the typing magic. Now that all Mac laptops have the Magic Keyboard, shoppers on a budget will also be considering the MacBook Air, which starts at the $999 at US. The Air is a fine choice for the basic computing, but it lacks a few features that are exclusive to the MacBook Pro. Some are trivial, like the touch bar. This tiny touch screen replaces the row of the function keys. But the functionality is offering the that offers it depends greatly upon the app you are using. And we're going to talk about the comparison of the 2020 Pro and the Air. So some apps like Safari, web browsing, and Adobe Photoshop makes extensive use of the touch bar of and which is offering the ability to open the bookmark well the web pages or adjust the diameter of a paintbrush tools. Many other apps offer no touch bar supports, however, in which the touch bar just serves as a way to control the basic functions like the system volume and the screen brightness. Frequent users of the escape key will appreciate that the new Magic Keyboard has reclaimed this vital key from the touch bar. There's now a physical escape key like the other laptops excluding the Apple laptops, located on the left of the touch bar instead of a virtual one built into the touch bar like a previous versions of the MacBook Pro. Overall, though, the presence of the touch bar isn't a key reason to choose the MacBook Pro and over the MacBook Air. The processor differences between the Air and the Pro are more significant. The entry-level MacBook Air has a 10 generation quad-core Core i5 with a base clock speed of just 1.1 GHz and a power consumption of 10 watts. More power available to CPU typically increases the performance, all else becomes or being the equal. Even though the entry-level 13-inch MacBook Pro has an older 8 gen the Core i5 with the same number of cores, its 1.4 GHz clock speed is higher, and so its 15-watt power consumption. And it's stepping up to the Core i5 in the review gets you an even better 10th generation Core i5 that's more powerful than one in the MacBook Air with a 2 GHz base clock speed. The $1,799 configuration of the MacBook Pro also offers more ports than the MacBook Air does, which could come in the handy if you need to connect to multiple peripherals or an external displays. You'll still need an adapter or special cable since all of the ports use the same oval-shaped USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports connector, but with 4 of them, you might not need to buy an expensive docking stations. The audio quality of the 1799 MacBook Pro is generally better than one of the MacBook Air. As well, I find its stereo speakers to offer excellent bass and the plenty of volume for such a small laptops, and certainly more dimensional sound than the MacBook Air speakers offer. 220 years fire upward through the grills that flank the keyboard, which frequencies from the woofers emanate from the vents on the bottom of the laptops. The $1,299 entry level the MacBook Pro is different, though in its audio arrangement it lacks the dedicated woofers and the tweeters, instead featuring 4 full-range speakers that all fire through the keyboard flanking grills. The lack of the dedicated woofers could have a slight negative impact on the bass delivery, and but I was not able to verify this with my own ears as I had only the 1799 model on my hand in this review. So, as ever sharp the Retina display. So other key features are virtually the same between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. I like the Retina display. It's a 13.3-inch panel with a very high native resolution, somewhere between the Full HD and 4K, which measures 2560 by 1600 pixels. Color appears brilliant, and the text is sharp, and I especially like the True Tone features, which optimizes the white balance of the screen of the nature of the ambient light around the laptop. MacBook Pro screen has a few minor advantages over the MacBook Air display, including a higher 500 nit brightness display level and the suppose a P3 color gamut which offers more colors, but offers I found both screens comparable for casual using like watching movies, videos, or editing videos or editing documents. Camera quality is also similar between the two laptops, both equipped 720p webcams and that offers only marginal video qualities. And MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air both have the built-in fingerprint readers, which Apple calls Touch ID sensors. Silver or gray color options. Yep. The MacBook Pro is available in the dark space gray aluminum finish of the review unit, a classical color scheme that has been around for several years. It's sleek and modern. It's though it's far from the striking design. Let's get on with the post selection. The MacBook Pro wireless connection connector is anchored by the supports for the 802.11 AC Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 5.0. Supports for the latest Wi-Fi 6 standard is missing, unfortunately. But Wi-Fi 6 doesn't offer a huge benefit currently since its few wireless routers support it yet. But its absence means the MacBook Pro isn't as future-proof as it could be. In addition to the 10th generation Core i5, the 1799 version of the 13-inch MacBook Pro also includes 16 gigabytes of RAM, internal storage memory, 3.733 MSZ memory, Intel Iris Plus graphics processor, Core i5 CPU, and 512 gigabytes of SSD storage. When we do the comparison, it's among the Dell XPS 13, the Microsoft Surface Laptop 3, and Razer Blade Stealth. So I click on part decent computing performance. Let's talk about the performance right now. So the test system configuration as written over here is Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch is Intel Core i5 1038 NG7, which is 2GHz Intel Iris Plus graphics with the 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is fast RAM, 512 gigabytes of Intel storage, and it's awesome when we compare to these four laptops. Apple MacBook Air, MacBook Pro 13-inch 2019, Dell XPS 13 9300, Razer Blade Stealth 13 late 2019. Yeah, when you take about the Dell XPS 13 9300, which I reviewed in the previous video, the Dell XPS 13 9310, which just released now here for 2021. So hope all enjoyed. It's like around 1K nearly, and thank you for that much. Yeah, and let's continue with the review. Yeah, next, handbrake 1.1.1. What you see as TI, this TI is means tech insider, okay, which encodes 12 minutes 4K test files to 1080 pixels minutes. This range 15 25 15 15 15 all are in minutes, and in this lower is the best. So Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch 2021 2020 is good, yeah, best with the 2019 Galaxy 13 Razer Blood Stealth 13. So yeah, this MacBook Pro 13 is also best in this handbrake 1.1.1. Cinebench R15 high is the best in this one. In this Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch 2020 is the best. All core settings is this is the best. Photoshop CC applies the 10 filter to the test JPG, and it's in the seconds. Lower is the best. So in this Dell XPS 13 9300 is the best. Then comes to the Razer Blade Stealth 13. Then comes to the Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch, which I'm reviewing right now. Then Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch 2019. Then comes to the Apple MacBook Air 2020. So in this Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch is the third. Video rundown battery test. So when you run the video that we are checking the battery test. Here hours by minutes high is the best. So Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch 2019 is one of the best. Then comes to the XPS 13 9300. Then comes to Apple MacBook Pro Air 2020. Then comes to the Apple MacBook Pro 13 inch 2020, which is the fourth among these five. And then Razer Blade Stealth 13 late 2019. So let's continue. So with the exception of the MacBook Air, all of these laptops perform roughly equal on the video encoding test, and it's one of the best. Yeah. So MacBook Pro or iPad Pro is the best. Many prospective buyers will also want to consider an iPad Pro instead of a Mac laptop, as Mac laptops are expensive. And in iPad, it is when we compare iPad with other tablets, then iPad is very expensive. As Mac laptops is also expensive, it's like very good. Yeah. The Geekbench 5 CPU test suggests that the Apple A12 Power 2020 iPad Pro and the MacBook Pro review units are roughly equal when it comes to the Pro CPU comfort, the CPU performance. Geekbench measures a processor amplitude for everything from checking email to taking a picture to playing music, and the iPad Pro score 1118 on the Geekbench single core test and 4687 on the multi core test, while the MacBook Pro score 1146 on single core test and 4487 on the multi core test. The Geekbench results that Apple's own A-series processor are well positioned to replace the Intel Silicon in Mac notebooks, a switch upward that is rumored to begin the next year or so. And then for now, for the main decision facing most Mac laptops shoppers is whether to go with the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. The price of the 13-inch MacBook Pro review unit is a bit hard to stomach if you're in your laptop just for a basic computing task. But the 1299.99 entry level version is easier to recommend. In fact, that the configuration is now an even better value since it gets to Apple more comfortable Magic Keyboard, and it's also best equipped with the $999 entry level MacBook Pro and MacBook Air configurations. The MacBook Pro has long been a status symbol and an inspirational that has given rise to the legions of similar Windows Ultra portable laptops. It can get pricey as you add the options, multiple options are there, storage options, RAM options. But now the Apple has fixed the keyboard also and gets the basics right and is our new top pick among the Mac laptops. So what I think about the MacBook Pro 13-inch Tech Insider's editor's choice. So improved keyboard comfort, I like it. It's changed from the butterfly keyboard to the magic keyboard. It's great, and they have added the physical keys. Then they have added the excellent Retina display. But the thing is that USB-A is not there. The USB-A is not there, HDMI is not there, SD card is not there, so you have to buy a dongle for this, and long battery life, good graphics and computing performance, good performance, but it can get pricey. It's expensive as configured. That's $999, then $1,299, $1,799, but base configuration is $1,299 here. But in Amazon, you can get $1,149 as mentioned over here. And then it doesn't support the Wi-Fi 6 and limited port selection. As I have told, only 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports are there. No USB-A is not there, USB-A is not there, SD card slot is not there. Then HDMI port is not there. So you have to buy the dongles for USB-A connectors, and yeah. And here you can see this picture, TI Tech Insider, this MacBook Pro 13-inch, see it at Amazon $1149 and base configuration here $1,299. Thank you for watching this wonderful review, the Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch here for 2021, but the late 2020. But here now the year is 2021, so this model is late 2020. It released late 2020, but still we are reviewing it right now, the 2021. So thank you for watching this review, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.